Over the last year, NotebookLM established a new baseline for research. The core appeal is simple: uploading a massive stock of source material, synthesizing dozens of PDFs, spreadsheets, and notes, and extracting clean, accurately cited answers. Instead of relying on a model's generic memory, it uses an open book exam approach. You ask a question, and the AI physically scans your uploaded documents to construct a response strictly grounded in your text. This virtually eliminates hallucinations. But there is a massive catch. To get that level of synthesis, you have to upload your files into Google's cloud ecosystem. For a lot of professional use cases, that is an immediate deal breaker. If you are analyzing corporate code, reviewing patient medical records, or sorting through sensitive legal discovery, those documents cannot leave your local environment. And even for casual users, relying on a cloud service means your workflow is vulnerable to sudden usage caps or further subscription fees. Cloud-based document AI offers incredible convenience, but it demands the total surrender of your data sovereignty. The alternative to the cloud locking is a technology called local RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. RAG is the underlying system that connects your private documents to a language model. In a local RAG setup, the entire process happens strictly on your machine. The system reads your files, breaks them into searchable chunks, and generates answers entirely offline. Your data never touches an external server. This creates a direct trade-off. You must choose between the frictionless capability of a cloud product and the absolute data control of a local setup. Looking at this quadrant chart, we map out the dilemma. On the axis of data privacy versus user convenience, NotebookLM sits clearly in the bottom right. High convenience, low privacy. Up in the top left, prioritizing strict privacy, we have a cluster of open source local options. Securing your data without paying a monthly fee is entirely possible today. But to get there, you have to take on the burden of setting up the software and providing the hardware compute yourself. Before looking at user interfaces, you need an engine. For almost every local setup, that engine is Ollama. Ollama is an open source application that allows you to download and run powerful AI models like Meta's Llama 3 and Mistral directly on your computer. It handles the heavy lifting of executing the AI without an internet connection. When you use NotebookLM, you are borrowing processing power from Google's data centers. When you use Ollama, your own computer has to generate every single word. This visual compares what it takes to match those speeds. Computing with the cloud requires serious local hardware. To run complex RAG pipelines efficiently, you need heavy system RAM, plenty of VRAM, and ideally a modern GPU. Open source AI is subscription free, but you are trading a monthly fee for an upfront investment in the physical hardware required to run it. If you have the hardware and want the most direct replacement for NotebookLM, the best consumer path is AnythingLLM. AnythingLLM installs exactly like a standard desktop app. You don't need to know how to write code, configure servers, or manage API endpoints. You download it, install it, and open it. Under the hood, it comes pre-packaged with a built-in vector database to store your documents. It also uses isolated workspaces, meaning a PDF uploaded to a legal folder won't cross-contaminate answers generated in your accounting folder. Looking at this comparison matrix, AnythingLLM scores perfectly on data privacy, and keeps setup friction remarkably low. The trade-offs are the high hardware demands we discussed and a dip in UI polish. You won't find highly curated Google features like one-click podcast generation here. For non-developers who simply want to drag and drop a PDF and ask questions in strict privacy, AnythingLLM is the fastest way to start working. If a desktop app feels too restrictive, the next step up is OpenWebUI. Instead of a simple install, OpenWebUI is a self-hosted platform. You deploy it on a local server or run it through Docker. It requires more technical confidence, but it scales across your entire local network. Once running, it acts as a provider-agnostic AI cockpit. You can seamlessly switch between an offline Llama 3 model for reading internal notes and then plug in an OpenAI API key for general tasks. Expanding our matrix adds OpenWebUI. It matches AnythingLLM's privacy and implements UI polish. The cost is setup friction. Deploying requires a moderate learning curve. OpenWebUI is the ideal architecture for tech-savvy users aiming to build a centralized private AI hub rather than relying on a single boxed application. Finally, for use cases where out-of-the-box software simply isn't accurate enough, there are developer frameworks like LangChain and LlamaIndex. This path abandons user interfaces entirely. You are writing code in Python to manually construct the retrieval and generation pipeline from scratch. The reason to do this is granular control. You dictate how paragraphs are split, how metadata is tagged, and how the databases rank evidence. For dense legal contracts, this tuning guarantees flawless retrieval. Completing our matrix with the custom stack shows the extreme end. Privacy is absolute, hardware is optimized, but setup friction is severe, and UI polish is irrelevant because you build it yourself. Building a custom stack moves you beyond basic document chat into engineering a proprietary research platform tailored for high-stakes accuracy. With a clear view of the tools available, we can filter this alphabet soup of open source software down to the specific stack that matches your constraints. This decision tree maps the process. Can data leave your machine? Yes. Use NotebookLM. No. Move local. Will you write code? Yes. Build with LangChain. No. Choose your UI. For a desktop app, install AnythingLM. For a server interface, deploy OpenWebUI. Mapping your exact constraints upfront prevents the frustration of installing a developer tool when you just needed a consumer app. If your hardware is older, your data is public, and you love generated podcasts, the open source route will only slow you down. Stick with NotebookLM. If you are a professional who needs an immediate subscription-free way to query sensitive PDFs without compromising your firm's data policies, AnythingLLM is the right choice. And if you are building an enterprise system where a single AI hallucination could cost a client money, LangChain provides the control you need to anchor the model to your exact evidence. The technology for document-grounded AI is now a commodity, open source, and capable of running on consumer hardware without any outside permission. You can build a completely private, highly capable research assistant right now. You just have to decide if the upfront cost in hardware and setup time is worth owning your data forever.